Guten Morgen, YouTube. Good day. Hope your boss is loose. The hound is loose. No. What's going on? What's happening? I don't have a hound anymore. Um, I watched a pretty good Simon Jacobson's, I'm going to share it. He's talking about the feminism movement and even back in the 60s when these Fruit Loop nut cases and all the rest, all the stuff that was going on, the femaleness in me felt um, embarrassed to be viewed upon like they were portraying themselves. I could not stand it. I mean, if you can do the same job as a man, whether it maybe even more with your mind if it's not the physical part, yes, at the workplace, people should have the same amount of money, I believe. And because there's things I could do even in construction that guys couldn't typically, not as good as I could. So depending on, whatever that is. I saw yesterday, I think it was, and I'll talk more on that feminism thing. That kind of is the topic of my video. Aside from, I want to get this out of the way. Jordan Peterson had a video with the title, When You Lie, You Assume. And I thought to myself, okay, there's professionals that think everybody lies. Okay, that's your number one strike with me, because even being tricked or deceived falls in line with dishonesty, deception, and lying. So I'll get back to that in a second. But so I assume no. People that lie assume that others believe their lies, but there's something more to that when we're dealing with narcissists and psychopaths. Borderlines are pretty lying too, but the biggest thing with all that is they don't care if you believe their lies or not. Period. It's just like if it were directed energy weapons and they're doing something with this doo-doo, um, they don't care if we see what they're doing to us. They just flat ass don't care. I can't say that enough. They're cold as ice, cold as hell. That's pure hell. Um, Pure hell is actually not realizing that people could be so evil, and it is a real thing on this planet, you know, and they'll use that till the end of time, you know. So, okay, back on this feminism thing, which is a big, big thing, like Simon was talking about, like claiming your masculinity, claiming my femininity. And yes, I will. We are separate. God took woman out of man, out of him. We are not getting in touch with our male part or our female part if we're a man. Let me explain. Just a minute here. I'm going to light a cigarette, have a cup of coffee, and we're going to dive deep into what I know about my femininity. And having worked so many jobs and things like mechanical or whatever, that is typically a male profession. Like I'm a licensed contractor for a building. So just bear with me for a minute. Uno momento. Cheers, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'm going to put it to you in the simplest terms that I could possibly find. Like the Spirit of God I feel inside of me, I can feel my spouse. He's a man. I am not trying to get in touch with my male side. I am communicating through the Christ Spirit with my spouse. It's the same as him. He isn't on this planet to get in touch with his femininity. No, he's on this planet for that Spirit of Christ to go in him to understand my femininity, not his. Okay, I hope that's clear. I'm gonna repeat this several different ways to leave no room for any man or oddity of a woman to escape. You will not escape my words and my wisdom. Hang on. Because with the grace of God, I'm going to prove this out. And yes, the young people on this planet do need help. It is total confusion. Bear with me. We're just hanging and we're just kicking around today. Um, but we're talking about what it truly is with with a woman defining femininity and knowing men well enough to know that no, I am not a part man, but we'll get there. Everybody, you'll get it. Once you get it, you're going to be proud to be one or the other and not worry about being both at the same time. Actually, if you're trying to get in touch with something that isn't a part of you, it was a part of what was in the beginning in man, not in God. God's above all that. And not both. He's more than just people. God cannot be described with fleshly science. It's way beyond our understanding. But the science that is here, I can explain it to you. And I will. So just hang around. So I hope you're all doing fine. Today's a cooler day where they said perhaps into the 80s, which is pretty warm, but with a breeze, which I'm gonna really enjoy today. And we had rain last night, pretty good thunderstorms, um, but aren't expected to have any moisture in the foreseeable hot future. We have like at least a solid week above 90 degrees, so that will be, well, maybe just being in the house with the air conditioner on, that's what that's going to be. So yeah, if you as a woman can do a man's job well and make good money at doing that, it still doesn't make you a man. Likewise, if a man can do things women do, it still doesn't make you a woman. I don't need to get in touch with my masculine side because I don't have one. I had a father and a mother, but my two X chromosomes tell me who I am, and it's the feeling of feeling the sense of what it could be like to be a man, the sense of it, the spirit of it. It's like my spirit talking to my sons, or whether it be like telepathy, but that spirit talking to another human being that's a man. That's not you getting in touch with your feminine side. That's you hearing the Christ Spirit or the Holy Spirit, depending, the Spirit of God within you to give you that understanding of the other. It's the other, not one and the same, not components of each, not components of each. The spirit that you feel it physically because it's being transmitted in the ether, ethereal. The spirit of it doesn't make that your physical you. Your soul, if you're a man, your soul is masculine. That is who God made you to be. And the scriptures have been twisted as far as there's no genders in heaven and whatever. That's yet to be seen, and none of us can prove that. But with the help of RKX, I am going to help me prove to you the language of we are who we are made to be the minute our souls are conceived, the minute that spark of life, Barb, female, boop, there I am. And that's who I am. That's, if you're a man, spark of life, masculine, with the Spirit of God in you. The book's written on your heart, day one, the laws of God. It's right there. Now, what I just said you can't deny, because the Spirit's in me and the Spirit's in you, and you're going to feel how the words have been used and twisted to try and make something acceptable that is not acceptable. We're not here to come back together. We're here to learn how to deal in the spirit within the flesh for that understanding of the other, to work together for God, not as a unit, but not as one entity, still separate within our own souls. I am woman, watch me grow, or whatever, see me standing toe to toe as I spread my loving arms across the land. And do you know that? Helen Reddy, I am woman. Well, actually, it starts, I am woman, hear me roar. Well, not that, it doesn't start with that, but the chorus, with numbers too big to ignore, as I spread my loving arms across the land. But anyway, I might play that later. It's a little hokey, but I do love Helen Reddy. She's got other songs that have nothing to do with feminism or anything. And her story is a lot deeper, how she was, with her Christian-based loving songs, had a really hard time getting out in the world, and the men that were against her. So her fight was a little bit different um, than just whipping her bra off and acting like some hose bag, you know. So she had integrity that people really took out of context with that song, but it was a good hit. It was perfect timing for their movement. She knew that, of course. She's an artist. I mean, why wouldn't you want to make money? But there's a lot more when you know her story, then you'll understand the song isn't quite as hokey as it appears to be on the surface. And that was really used. People would laugh about it, and it's like you don't even know what's going on. Have no clue. you know. They're trying to make you feel like you're the Baphomet and you're totally independent. You are not both. You are not both man and woman at the same time. At all. You fit together, you know, or not, you know. If I laid this on Doug, you really need to get in touch with your feminine side. He'd want to take a big giant pan and knock me in my stupid head. And as well he should if he ever heard something that asinine out of me. When you get it, you're going to get it. It's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. The hundreds of years people have been trying to push that were, look, dude, I was made out of a rib. I'm not the whole enchilada. I'm somebody different, you know? I'm not searching for my other half. I'm a whole thing. I'm not you. I don't want to be you. Hopefully, you don't want to be me either. Oh, God, please help these people understand. Hey, Okay, so I'm taken out of DNA. That makes me something not lesser, but different. Because you weren't made that way. You were made out of dust. We were made entirely two different ways. My body for putting little people on this planet, and your body to help take care of that situation after you did your half. But I think there's something more with another half of the female with that our emotions are not the same as men's. Of course, we all go through our heartaches and whatever, but there's a connection, a physical, emotional connection with people that women in the right frame of mind have with people on this planet that men can only emulate. Just like me, I can only emulate if you're can, like Simmons said, chop wood quicker or lift more weight, or I can emulate that, but I could pretend to be getting in touch with my masculinity, but no. And even if I could do something stronger than a man, the feminist, it's like even my skin, I have 3 layers, 2 to 3 layers less. My bone density is less. Um, there's a lot of not even subtle differences. They're just it's stark. It's right up front. You know, it's super important that we teach little girls that they are not trying to get in touch with their masculine side. This is and boys, it's not a good thing. Men are meant to nurture females so they can nurture their children, but they still were more the breadwinners while the women nurtures those children and then they work together as that unit. They still have separate roles to play on this planet. It's the other. It isn't the same. It's not the same at all. Similarities doesn't make exact. It's like you can have a set of twins, even if they're what did they call it? It's fraternal and Identical. If you have identical twins, you cannot tell these people apart, but they still have their own separate DNA. And if it were to be a girl and a boy, now you have the separation of the male and the female, and they still carry their own strands of DNA. That's 2 degrees of separation from the same 2 eggs within one womb. Still 2 separate souls. So now you got 3 degrees of separation on what they are calling identical. Isn't even identical, even if it were 2 men, 2 boys, or 2 girls. These are not identical. Everybody is an individual soul, and everybody carries their own DNA, and everybody has their own chromosomes that make you either male or female. With the Spirit of God, I understand men, and I do a lot of praying and a lot of thinking and a lot of studying, and I know what I'm saying is true. And it's high time, and I am putting myself up there. It's high time younger people start listening to your elders when they have something definitively that they can prove in the scientific world. It's time you open up your earbuds or take them out and listen and start spreading this message around. It's not a game we're playing with the future of the world, with the people in it. And we need, and you need, to take that extremely serious. So, once again, it all starts with realizing, although God was able to come down in mankind, that is not who He is. And He isn't both. He was one, as you are, as I am, that individual, with His Spirit for that understanding. That's what He was doing in our blood. And that's another layer of understanding the Word of God on your heart, is when it hits you, don't let your ego deny it. Go with what hits your heart, or you're lying to yourself. If you can't do that, you're no good for anybody. No matter, even I could highly respect you, and you could mess up in the worst ways with one sentence that can destroy a lot of people, and it discredits everything you've ever done. And here's something on that lying stuff. A liar does think everybody else is dishonest. They just do, you know. I pride myself on taking beatings because I refuse to be a liar. I'd rather be right up in your face, tell you the truth, even if it's something shitty, and I'd say it right to you, and I'd take the consequences right then and there. Lay it on me. That's my personality. I don't know brave people like me. I know very few people that are honest or brave or do not care what they say or to pre-think what I'm going to say, because whatever comes out of my mouth is going to be, well, if I'm not God driven, I'm probably being radical, and some of that might be God driven too. But if I get really bad, that's not a God. I'm not going to pretend it is. I take that fault, you know. But still, I'll go there. I won't let that go. That's my adrenaline. If somebody pushes me there, you're going to get what you give if you get me on that level. And so, whatever. A lot of people can say that, but I'll prove it to you. I just don't say I love people. I really do, you know. As Archaic said, can show you the receipts of my integrity and who I am and what I talk about. And back to the separation of the other, God's another too. There's 3 parts of the Trinity that make the whole thing in the mind, spiritually, but it's still 3 separate beings that make a whole communication system within your spirit, not one or the other. It's the whole thing for you to get in touch with, to understand God, that more to understand yourself. The understanding of God is something that we'll always strive for because He's always ahead. And we got to get a grip on that too and trust in that. There's things I've had to put in God's hands that I wanted to take on for myself that I'm not qualified. I just have to leave it up to Him and trust that that's going to work out. And it always does. It's just that in between sometimes that my mom heart gets a little weary, but like I told my daughter-in-law, I have to think about my grandchildren where the father isn't thinking about them. And that does come first, but my mom heart hurts. Well, my grandma heart hurts too, and for my daughter-in-law, the whole thing hurts, but I have to be strong in areas that men refuse to be. And believe me, I do not feel like I'm getting in touch with my masculine side. I feel like I'm super grandma. I'm a female trying to do what a man should do is different than actually being half that and doing that. I'm not half that. I never will be. In spirit, not in my flesh. And everything I'm telling you is going to come out. It will come out scientifically. It will come out spiritually. Everything I'm saying that is true will touch your heart, and you'll be able to rearrange your words as such. No harm, no foul. We'll carry on from here. That type of feeling. We can do this without insulting everybody on the planet, everybody. Not just you, not just me. It's not about any one of us. It's actually about the Trinity and the spirit within mankind. And the concern that you actually do or don't have. As a man, you truly can't tell me the Spirit of God that I know is Christ's masculinity talking to my heart. And likewise, as the divine feminine talking to your heart, I could no more describe that. Well, we can if we're more female, and you can if you're more male. You're going to feel that other in a stronger sense, is what I'm getting at. But I truly can't take what I know as a masculine feeling coming into me, coming into my physicalness through spirit, doesn't make me that physical man or half that man or the mind of that man. That's the spirit that helps me with the thoughts of that man or the feelings of that man, even if he hears the divine feminine um, and the masculine, it doesn't make us both. It's in spirit. Once again, we are not. I am not. I guess I'll speak for myself. I am not getting in touch with your perceived manhood unless it's in my mind for understanding of you. Other than that, I'm perfectly fine in my femininity. And if the Christ Spirit can take that and put that in your mind's eye, not your physical body, XY chromosome, just understanding the XX, and there is that separation, and it can be scientifically proven. And if we want to incorporate the spiritual, which is we are spiritual beings having a physical existence right now, you still were made. It's like Christ is a male spirit. He is not part female. It's like the Catholics believe in Mother Mary. She's not part man. I'm just saying, like, beliefs from people around the world that has been so misconstrued because they're not teaching what the true Trinity is. So right now on this planet, women are battling two male spirits, one posing as femininity and the feminine spirit that is being squelched in society. So you don't have that understanding of the other. They are trying to take, like, if you'll never understand your spouse or your mother or your sister, because they're all going to be acting like men. Or you're a man that I could never understand because you're acting like your mother or sister or your spouse. You know, that's how confused the world is right now. And it is a spiritual thing. And you, as a man, are the other. You're not the enemy, you're the other that God put here so we could understand the other and have companionship. From how boring would it be if it was a world of just all women or just all men? Or if everybody was so blended that you couldn't define and there was no distinction from one human being to the next. There's a reason why you're the other. There's a reason why I'm the other. It could take you an eternity to understand the other. Well, it gives you something to do, doesn't it? But you could strive for number one, realizing that you are not trying to get in touch with your femininity, but what femininity is. I am not trying to get in touch with your masculinity, but what masculinity is. And just like watching my little kids, I used to trip out because I knew at that age or whatever who I was as a girl growing up. So to raise sons really tripped me out. And it taught me a lot about what masculinity is or isn't, or how they would be unlike me in different ways. unless they were taught something else that might have been unnatural and set these children off kilter. But besides that, just watching little people, you can learn a lot about the differences in the other, you know. Like little boys will go do something if you're two little kids out playing, little boy, little girl. They'll go do something and the little girl's thinking you are just whacked. And then she'll say something and he's looking at her like you must be an alien, you know. And then to bring those two understandings together with the Spirit of God is not getting in touch with that is inside of you, but that brings that spirit through you or me. So yeah, I think I have actually proven my point, but I know that there'll be other minds that will be and hearts. First it's going to touch your heart, and then your mind can work on that for other people, you know, after that. So, because y'all are tripping me out. You men on touch with your feminine, please, please, please stop it. It creeps me out. Come on, you don't want me to get in touch with no males. I don't, isn't femininity out of a woman the best scenario? Unless your life's in danger, then you'd be happy if she studied combat. But besides that, I mean, in all reality, even that's very unnatural, unless it's self-defense, you know. And even that is unnatural. You know, the whole thing is. But the wars of men. But basically, until good men understand the Trinity, the mother, the father, and the baby, being the Spirit of God on the planet, working through both the parents in the world to give you all and all of us that understanding of what God expects out of us as human beings, being the other and how to treat the other, because that's that capability that each parent gave to that spirit to be able to communicate within mankind, and it is all spiritual. But right now, the two male figures in that Trinity thing, the forefathers slept and they're just waking up, and the Dark Cabal is using that for their advantage to push the confusion of transgender and all the rest of the stuff that is so unnatural and is confusing people because this is not how we were made. Not like that. So, yes, they want to define God and they want to define what is a man or a woman all together now. But where's the truth on their hearts? Like I just laid on you, which is absolutely true. Excuse me a minute, I got a itch. Um, it is true. I know. I touched some man's heart just right now. He's like, you're right. That isn't a part of me. That's the feminine spirit in Christ trying to tell me what she's feeling. And what I am feeling personally is personally attacked by two male spirits and one working hard through the children of disobedience and the female part of that persona, because it is only faking it. And it has nothing to do with sexuality, but everything to do with gender. Every single thing, you know. And there are only two genders. There's only two. Even in a seahorse, they say the male can be pregnant. No, this is just science's way to say that, because they don't have both genitalia, the larger seahorse carries the baby seahorses would make that still the female regardless. It's just like some birds take care. The males will nest on their young. They did not lay the eggs, but they had to fertilize the egg. So, I mean, it's still a two-part system regardless of the names that science wants to put on things, you know. And hydrogenous would be worms. Yes, they don't need a gender. If you want to be like a worm, then you can mix yourself all up. Don't worry about the feminine spirit trying to talk to your heart. Let's go with that masculine one and the lustful ways ones and the ones that aren't understanding what constitutes a woman and the separation of those feelings, actual emotions that men do not possess and can adopt, but isn't really a natural part of how they should be emotionally feeling. It's a conditioned thing. And just like the coldness in a woman's heart, that's a conditioned thing. It is. It's a protection device. They use it. They act like they're tough and they're bad with nothing, absolutely nothing to back it up. There's a lot of that going on. And if they can back it up, then it could become looking very unfeminine, you know. And I've been put in that position. I don't like it at all. And my femininity comes out, not masculinity. And that even gives me a different fighting method too, you know. So, and um I do utilize the things that I've had done to me, and I've invented some of my own. So, yeah, I'm a little different like that, but yeah, it's called self-preservation. That's basically too what this video is about. It's called self-preservation in my feminine mind, in my feminine heart and soul that does not want to be a part of somebody else. But I want that understanding, and that's how the Spirit of God helps us. Yeah. That's how I can hear what a man is thinking with the Spirit of God. It's not because I have man inside me, it's a spirit. Just imagine it's like a little boy, or just imagine this. No, I can't even word it this way because then the queers will run with it. I have to stick with basics. You're either a male or a female. Even if I talk about what could be in your mind, you're still not going to grasp that it's not a physical thing and you're not one half of something else. They were separated, just like the dark and the light. It's separate. They can blend into each other, but one is still one thing and one is still the other thing. and they know where they originate from. Even coming together, they know that one is still light, one is still dark. And that's how men and women really have to start viewing this on this planet for the health of the little people, you know. This is in all honesty. If you had your little child break their arm, God forbid. I was never that unlucky, but I had bad things happen to my kids. But just say, okay, so if you had a child break their arm, and the father didn't get the car or call the ambulance, he sat down on the couch and got in touch with his feminine side and started crying like a hysterical stupid. How would you feel? Or if the little boy broke his arm and he came in the house and he said, Mom, I think I hurt my arm pretty bad. And she sees it dangling there, and like a guy, just walk it off. Go wrap it up, and we've got work to do. Put your work clothes on, you know. Do you see what I'm saying? If we mix the roles and pretend that we're another gender or a part of another gender, that takes away from who we are meant to be and the things. I'm not saying a man shouldn't cry, absolutely you should. Maybe not in certain situations, but it's a healthy thing, yeah. No more than a woman should probably, how do I say this? Oh, there's just no way to really say things in a society that is so polluted by what real femininity is. It's so polluted. I'm having a hard time expressing myself to women that don't have that same type of feeling inside. How do I express to a society that has been so hurt by what should have been a mom's strength? How do I express that to people where maybe they had their oh, God knows what your moms or dads might have did you, and the strength that they did or didn't display in times that they should have according to their gender, or if they weren't allowed to express what they needed to express, how empty would that leave that woman or that child? Nobody would be able to be natural. If the man doesn't take the lead as the masculine in the world and realize that he's not a half of that, but he can have the understanding of that. But how do I explain to a man that isn't feminine no more than a man can explain to me maybe the stresses of what it's like to carry a larger load of concern for the world? Well, it doesn't make what I'm feeling any less or what I'm saying less important. It makes me the other. I'm the other trying to explain in a world of pan minded, um, almost asexual, meaning that you are adopting something that's unnatural onto yourself causing you more strife, and it really does, in areas where it isn't even necessary. I'm having a hard time expressing the differences in the whole thing for a wide variety of everybody now coming down to a couple hundred years, going on a couple hundred years of like the suffragettes or, getting rights to vote for women or different things that it's been a movement when these women forget that there were queens in ancient times and the men were subservient. But she wasn't less feminine because she could take that control with her, not just her femininity, but the workings of a society and put that together and be respected for those strengths within those societies. It didn't take away from her being a mother or a woman or anything like that. You know, I don't know. But I'm finding it harder to almost talk to the women, to talk them down out of, don't try and get in touch with the male side because you don't have one. You're the other. We were taken out of that, made different. You're not half of that. You're just made out of the rib. And he was made in an entirely different way. These are two different things in a material world and two separate spiritual beings that the Spirit of God is trying to get us to understand the other, not get in touch with somebody that isn't us as ourselves, like making it us. We aren't here to become a man if you're a woman. You are not here to become a woman if you're a man. You're here to work as a unit for the understanding of that family, for that family. And with the Spirit of God, if you're a father and you have a daughter, that's how you're going to understand that little girl. And it isn't going to work with your masculine mind. It's going to work with the Spirit of God working in you. And the same with a mom for her sons. God is the only help you're going to get with that, ladies. That's it. Same with your husbands, or you pray. That's my best advice. you know, yeah, that'll work. If it doesn't work, it's in the works. It'll work out somehow. So. Hey, Doug, want to say hi to YouTube? No, nothing good to say right now. Oh, wait. I do have something to say. What was it that can regenerate every 2 weeks? What was it that can regenerate every 2 weeks? Oh, the lining of your stomach. Every two. Oh, okay. Every 2 weeks it grows a new lining. Otherwise, the stomach acids would eat itself to death. So every 2 weeks we grow a new stomach lining. And that's cool to know. I did know that most of us, our cells regenerate every 30 days. But that's good to know about your stomach, you know. So yeah, it's all brand new every 2 weeks. I guess we just got to figure out what day that 2 week period falls on. Must be a continuous thing from some continuum, So, yeah. No, I haven't heard much. I heard like last week Doug had seen some article or something like Orlando, Florida had been on fire, but I haven't heard anything else about that. Hey, Doug, did you hear anything more about those fires in Orlando?
I haven't heard a word since I heard from Eddie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. Just one report of that last week, and I haven't seen anything out
Well,
here.
they don't even want to report the one in Hawaii.
What's that?
They don't even want to report the one in Hawaii.
No, I know that. Although there are people trying to ask for donations to make money off of other people's problems.
The video Jane sent me, that town is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, some guy sent Doug a video of Orlando, and it's just
Maybe DeSantis is going to help him.
yeah. But I guess a lot of it was all fried up. I don't know.
Fucking communist.
Just weird though, because one time when I ran away, I got to Orlando, Lake City, right out Daytona Beach. I got that far from Minnesota, and then was headed back. I was going west and north from there, and got busted in Georgia, but Alabama, and then got taken to Georgia, and then back to Minnesota. But yeah, at 15, I got to Florida from Minnesota. I was going to pick oranges. It didn't work out too good for me. But anyway, so, but it's just funny. That's the only town I had gotten to, and it's burnt down now. Jesus, like, do I leave a wake of fire wherever I go? It's odd because, in some respects, I've noticed similar things like that in my life. Like, I'll be somewhere, think something, and then just what I like foresaw or think that should happen might happen. I don't know. But I'm thinking these so-called professionals that are out there leading people the wrong way for a monetary gain um, should have some. If you won't stop, you should be stopped. That's my attitude with the wrongs in the world. Whatever it takes, you know. Ooh, it's really smoky here today. Not just in my room. We have Canadian wildfire smoke coming down for about 2 days, and then it's going to start getting hot. It's the jet stream is swooping down with some cooler weather and some smoke. So, yeah, smoke it up, right, people? Oh, yeah, and Doug said they don't even want to report on the Hawaiian fires in Maui. I don't know. I've seen they are reporting on it, but I still believe it's part of their agendas, whether it is weaponized or, whatever they did to initiate the whole thing. It's all a part of what they're trying to do for constant control over the human population. No matter what it is, you can probably rest assured that it's pre-planned. You know, it's just like this gender confusion thing. This is the most devastating. Your sexuality, everybody has it, um, is weaponized against you. You, your personal soul, who, lady or gentleman, you are made to be. The whole thing's weaponized to confuse you. And the author of confusion loves the chaos that he's created. Don't help him. Take my words of wisdom and the science behind it that's sound and logical, and apply that and help me stop this nonsense. It's the Spirit of God working in people. We're one or the other. We're the other, but not the same. But we can have the understanding to work as a united thing and still be our separate selves. I'm not letting go of my femininity. You cannot have it. It's not yours. You can share in that. You can feel like that. And you can even pretend to be that. But that is not who you are. If you're a man, you are not getting in touch with the feminine side. You are getting in touch with the spirit of the first woman through the Spirit of God with that understanding for yourself and for the women on this planet. Just like I ask for God and Christ's help on understanding you as a man. And once again, I do not and am not trying to get in touch with a male side that I don't possess. It's not me. I don't want it to be me. And any woman that would, oh, dear lady, come on. Get a grip on who you are. That's as nice as I can say it all. Without being offensive, I got science behind me, and it's totally provable. Now, if the psychiatric and the spiritual community will only get with the program and understand that it is a spiritual thing, and men and women are truly separate, you know. No, you're not looking for your other half. You're not trying to get in touch with another half. You're trying to understand the other with the help of God, because we're made different. An image isn't an exact thing. Even in that, I could look like my mother or my father. That's the image of what was. That's not them. I'm different. I'm me. We're all individual. But start with your gender first. This is important. One or the other, not both at the same time. That's the fictitious fairy tale of a control mechanism of confusion set upon the world to cause you more harm, to cause us all more harm. So the family unit cannot function with God within it like it's meant to be. And it's taking God out of the picture entirely. Furthermore, why would this feminine spirit want to talk to a man that thinks he is part female? And why would the Spirit of God, being male, the male persona, the image, want to talk to a woman that thinks she's a man and half man? My father told me I'm a girl and to be a girl for all my time, and I will be. And I'm going to tell you, if you're a girl, be a girl. Especially for the other girls so they know what that example is. And if you're a man, cherish that. And be that pastoral example of the Christ spirit, the male spirit within you, should be even stronger than the feminine on your heart that's trying to talk to you to help the women in the world, like the male part of the spirit on my heart out here trying to reach the men in the world with this common sense that I'm laying on you today for all of you and all of us, in the world. So you ever get confused, just look in the mirror. It's probably going to be your first clue. And I know God's going to touch your heart with all this. Now just take it from here and put it out in the world so those that are confused can come down off their retarded horse and get a righteous horse, a mode of good transportation instead of the crazy one, the healthy God's spirit within us, letting us be that divine feminine or the patriarchal male, with a strong sense of leadership and sound mind. And my heart's more tender. That's my femininity. So, being forced to have more responsibilities in a male world, male dominated world, truly makes me cherish my femininity all the more. It really does. Because no mother in her right mind would send her children off to war. Here's an example of the misplaced sexuality going on in our world. What's accepted in the unnatural ways that people have adopted for their own. And it's so mumble jumbled, so mixed up. It's a ball of confusion. I think I'll play that song later. I'll get the lyrics out for you. It's a good song from the 60s. 69 maybe 70 or 1. But yeah, within about a 3-year period, that song was pretty popular. It's a good song. I'll share it for you. But that's my message for today. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to word this, but I am going to share Simon Jacobson's video in the description, and hope that made sense. Hope it touched your heart. Hope you know what the Spirit of God is, like a go-between for mom and dad, so you have an understanding of what a whole family is and how we work together, but we don't become the other. We're made different, and we need to stand on that and be strong on that and teach that to other people so they don't have the confusion that the agendas are trying to push on people. So, and I know this all made sense, and I know I went deep enough that I didn't leave any stone unturned. So you cannot deceive anybody after this if you're still ego tripping with your dual persona that is fictitious. So, peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.